I'll think like, oh, is this a good restaurant for my mum to visit? Like, are the toilets accessible? No. Like, nah, we can't take her here. Or like, I'll think about things like that. And yeah, I always have the guilt even now of like, I know I should spend more time with them. I always have that guilt. If they ever one day needed to go to the nursing home, I feel like that's a huge guilt.
Is it to the point that you would even invite them to live with you?
Welcome to the Asian Soup Podcast.
This is your co-host Jules.
And this is your co-host Rox.
The Asian Soup Podcast is your cozy space on the internet where we share and discover stories about one another.
We chat about a range of topics from careers to relationships and much more.
Come sit with us
and get nourished. Welcome back to the pod.
Welcome. How are you, everyone?
Good. Let's jump straight into it.
I've got a box of tissues here ready for us just in case we shed some tears as we talk about today's topic.
It's not that we want to cry, but the topic is
I'm going to say it out loud. I don't think I'm going to cry.
Oh, okay. I hope not.
Do you think you'll want to cry?
I hope I don't, but hopefully not. We'll see how we go. Sometimes things get emotional. Have we cried on the pod? I don't think so. I think we've cried with each other.
I think there are times
Is it more
when
me crying?
I think you cry.
I think I'm more emotional.
We have
different
turned off the cameras
and then
we
you
cry
and then I
crying.
Cry. Yeah. I'm a crier.
Yeah, I thought I'm a crier, but I'm not a crier compared to Rox. Rox has like
I cry to her all the time.
You got deep feelings.
Oh my god. Yeah, we should be all right.
Yeah, we should be okay. But yeah, I mean, I hope that paints a bit of a picture about how this topic's a bit sensitive and dear to our hearts.
What's the topic?
Well, you guys all clicked into it. It's about our aging parents.
Okay, yes. That is correct.
Yeah. Where do we begin? So, Rox, aging parents. They're aging. We're 30, 35. And how old are your parents?
This is what I always forget because in my head, I always think they're in their 40s or 50s.
Oh my God, yes.
I always think that. And then I'm like, I'm 35 though. So they're not. So they're in their 60s. I think
rough age.
I think my mum's like 62 or 63. And then my dad's 4 years older, so 66 or 67. Yeah.
Okay. And Rox,
I'm so sorry, but I always forget because I always think they're younger.
Do you need to text them now and ask?
No, I know their year, so I could calculate it, but
okay.
I just don't want to.
Rox is also...
Should I calculate and then let you know?
Quick, you calculate while I take over the mic. Rox is also the first child. So the gap between you and your parents, I'm assuming, could be less than me and my parents.
My dad is 67.
Yep.
That means my mum is 63.
Yep. Okay. I am the same as you. I always get mixed up how old my parents are, but my dad just hit a milestone.
Oh.
He just turned 70, which means my mum is 68.
Yeah.
Because they have a 2-year age gap. That's how it works, right?
Yeah,
you know dad's
age gap.
And then
I calculate mum.
Sorry,
age
mum.
gap.
But like it's just
easier.
just the older one. We work off the older one.
Yeah. That's what I just did.
And it's, I think, because I'm the second child, I have a bigger age gap between me and my parents.
Yeah.
And I think it really hit me this time when my dad turned 70.
That is a big one. Is there a big, in Korean culture, is there like a big celebration or dinner he needs to do?
Yeah. When you turn 60, oh my God, I don't know. There's like a word for it. I think it's hwaga. I don't know. You need to Google it. But when they turn 60, when you turn 60, it's like a big one. You
60 is a big one.
Like a big party.
Yeah.
But we didn't really throw one for my dad when he turned 60. He kind of organized his own party. Bad. So we try to treat him this time when he turns 70. Yeah. What about Chinese culture? Is there some kind of big party when you turn?
I think 60 is big.
Yep.
60, I think 70 and 80 are like the gets bigger, you know, like it has to be that on that decade thing. And then if people are very generous or they have lots of friends, they might do a banquet or something.
Yeah.
I remember my grandma did a banquet and we went to her one when she was older. I forgot if she was 70 or if she had turned 80, but I remember being really little. But speaking of grandparents, so I think what's interesting is we are now the age of our parents when we were kids.
Yeah.
And watching our parents take care of their aging parents, who are our grandparents, So I guess watching that is as a child or as a Korean Australian, as a Chinese Australian, like that probably taught us a lot about how you're meant to take care of your parents when they're getting older, just watching our own parents. So I guess we can start off by, what was the situation like for your grandparents on both sides, and what are their expectations in like Korean culture?
Yeah, that's such a great question.
It's a really great question. We just thought of that 10 minutes ago.
I know we thought of it, but the way you said it, I couldn't have said it like that. You worded it so well, Rox.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Just take the compliment.
I know, I'm so bad at taking compliments.
You're great.
I always eye roll at like compliments.
I always get because we do this live, right? We wing it, right? And I'm just like, Rox,
it's not live.
It is live.
Edit it.
We wing it. No, but still, I'm always like,
to us, it's live.
Sometimes when Rox just says like, wraps it up so well like that, I'm like, you're so good at podcasting, like especially we've come such a long way. And you just said that so well.
We've had a lot of practice. We're in season 3.
I know, but I honestly I still struggle sometimes. I'm like, can't get I need a bit of warm up, but Roxy can get straight into it from the beginning.
Get into it. No,
oh my gosh. Okay, let me answer the question now. So that was a great question, thank you for that. I think I was just, when you said all that, I was thinking about my childhood, and I grew up with my grandparents in Australia. So my grandparents on my dad's side, they immigrated here because you know how like in Asian culture, if you're the son, you're king.
Yes, the eldest son.
The oldest son. My dad was only an eldest son. So both of his parents moved over here when he moved over.
Yeah.
And they also lived with us. Yeah. So I was one of those people who lived in those multi-generational families with grandparents and then parents and then kids.
Yeah.
And that was the norm for me growing up with my grandparents. And they picked me up from school. They dropped me off. I always got scolded by my grandma to do homework, to clean my room. My grandma prepared meals for me after school because my parents were both always working.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. I still have memories of my grandpa. He would always watch the 12 p.m. like daytime like TV movies. On Channel 7, they would always have
the Aussie ones.
Yeah, they both studied English.
Oh, that's
They
good.
were like those grandparents who studied English really, really hard. Like they wanted to, they wanted not integrate, but they just wanted to study.
Yeah.
And grandpa, they're both pretty good, which is pretty incredible,
good.
right?
Yeah.
So watching English movies, grandpa he loved Australian Open. Like every January. Like I grew up watching tennis with my grandpa.
Yeah.
And I still remember like they had their room. We lived in a house, and parents, always busy. Grandpa, he used to drive as well, and then he got a bit old, so they had to like stop him from using the car because he was getting a bit reckless. But I just have this memory like coming home from school and being summer in my school uniform, and they'll be outside like gardening.
Yeah.
That's my childhood. So I think like that's what I think.
Kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, at the time, like, hearing like getting scolded by your grandparents, it's like, oh my God, just please, like, let me just watch TV. I'm tired from school, but it's so annoying because you get crap from like more outnumbered.
Yeah, more adults.
Yeah. And I spent more time with adults, if I think about it, than with children, like at least at home. My brother, I don't really remember my brother because he was 6 years older than me.
Oh.
So he was always like out with his friends.
Yeah.
So I just remember spending a lot of time with my grandparents. And I think what I remember is just my mum would always like cook for my grandparents, and they had like higher status is what I would say it. Like they would be at the top.
They're your dad's parents too.
They're my dad's parents. And of course, like, it's really hard for the mother-in-law, which is my mum. But that was kind of the norm. Like,
You mean daughter-in-law?
oh yeah, daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
I would say that
You need to respect
the
your in-laws,
elders
yeah.
are respected. And I think that's traditional
Yeah.
and applies to most Asian cultures.
Yeah, I think a lot of cultures that
Yeah, you
applies.
respect your elders and you speak to your elders in polite form in Korean. You do little things like you don't pick up the cutlery until they eat or
Finish, yeah.
yeah, or just little like rules like that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I'll just say like the elderly were just more respected in our household, and that's
Yeah.
how I grew up
Yeah.
seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to quickly note, my grandparents on my mum's side, they were in Korea, and whenever I went over there, they were like very powerful in that household.
As well.
Yeah, everybody would like especially grandpa, he was really respected.
Wow.
It would be like, oh, even till he passed away this year at the age of like 96, but up until the end, I would say that all his children, like in Korean they say like 모셨어, like to kind of like
It's on a pedestal.
yeah, on a pedestal a little bit.
But like, yeah.
But not too
in a
much.
good way.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I would say so.
Yeah.
They respected him.
It's
Till
a
the end.
hierarchy. It's like a
It
a
is.
hierarchy.
Yeah, which
family
is
thing.
quite different to what it is now. I think, like to nowadays, like there is less of an age-based hierarchy. Yeah, but I definitely sensed it when I was over there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? And did any of the things that I said to what I just said now resonate with your childhood and your grandparents and the relationship they had with your parents?
Some definitely. I guess like my mum's side, she's one of. Okay, my mum is one of 7,
Wow.
and then my dad is one of 6.
Wow.
Okay, so that like paints a little bit of a picture. So one of 7, one of 6, and then I never met my granddads on both sides because they both died before I was born. So kind of pretty early actually. I think they would have been in their 60s or earlier from poor health. And then so I never met them. It was always my mum's mum who was in Hong Kong most of the time. She just lived there. She traveled here once, but I didn't have much experience with her, but I know that she took care of me a lot when I was a newborn. Like my mum basically left me, my parents basically left me at her house, for her apartment for like a few nights during the week while she went back to work.
Is this in Australia?
No, in Hong Kong. Before I moved here, because I only moved here when I was 6 months old. But imagine me as a newborn and baby, like my mum had to go back to work probably after a couple months or something. And then, yeah, my grandma would have me and take care of me with everyone else in the family. And then, and every time I visited her, she was like a really nice grandma to me because she was never around in Australia. So every time I visited her, it was like her chance to spoil me, her chance to cook something for me, make sure everything's fine. Like I just remember every time me and my mum would leave the apartment, because we'd be visiting Hong Kong and we'd be like maybe going out or seeing my dad's side of the family, and we sleep at her place or something like that. Yeah. But she'd always be like, give me another like packet of tissues, because in Hong Kong it's really popular in Hong Kong to always carry around a little packet of tissues, because you never know if you go to the bathroom, and Hong Kong is really sweaty as well. You just might need a packet of tissues. And I also have hay fever, so I might need it. But yeah, she'll be like, oh, it's raining. Like she's just typical grandma. And then when we'd go down, and because in Hong Kong you go and buy groceries every day. So we'd go down the lift, we'd see neighbours in the lift, and she'd be like, oh, this is my granddaughter from Australia and my daughter from Australia. They're visiting me and blah, blah, blah. And then and then we go and buy vegetables, right? This is my granddaughter from Australia. Yeah. She's visiting me. Going to buy meat, going to buy fish, and like just telling every person like, oh, this is my...
But do they all know her?
Yeah. Like, it's a very community vibe where she lives. So it's just like, So funny. So like, yeah, like I could tell that she really loved me and was proud of me, even though she has no idea really what I'm like day to day or anything. But she was just like so happy that everyone's around. She was just that type of like really simple woman, lady. Apparently she was really tough when she was a parent, but of 7, you can imagine. But as a grandma, she was really loving. And then my other grandma on my dad's side, she was pretty nice too, but she probably came to Australia like for a few months at a time, but she would live back in Hong Kong, and she slowly developed Alzheimer's or dementia, one of them, and I noticed this when she was with us in Australia. So, but when she would live with us months at a time, she'd like walk with me to the shops and buy the Chinese newspaper because she doesn't know how to read English or anything. But if you're like Hong Kong Aussie, you'll know like your grandparents always bought the Singtao newspaper every day. Like every day they have to have the Singtao newspaper. Was there a Korean newspaper that everyone always bought?
Free. It was free for us.
Oh, you had to pay. Oh. It's like $2 or $1 or something.
Is it Australian news or in Chinese or is it
Australian news in Chinese? So like it's an Australian publication.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was like my memory of like it's either my dad picking it up for her or we'll go to the shops and she'll pick it up. And she was a pretty nice lady too, but as she started to develop Alzheimer's, I think I was actually one of the first people that noticed. I think I was like 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old, and she had put like the the tomato and egg stir fry Chinese dish, family dish. She put that into the soup, and I was like, and I used to like sitting on the counter and watching her cook or helping or something, and I'm like, why did you put that in the soup?
Yeah.
And then my dad comes home and I'm like, Mama, put that in the soup.
Yeah.
And then he was like, what? And then slowly, and then she went back to Hong Kong, flew back to Hong Kong, and she got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And slowly after that, I think she lived with my uncle for a bit or auntie for a bit. And after that, she was in a nursing home in Hong Kong. And the nursing homes in Hong Kong are it's like cubicles. It's not even like a room. It's still private, but like, it's really sad. Like it's really confronting. Like I remember the last time I saw her, like she didn't remember me already, and she couldn't talk. She couldn't speak already. But seeing her in those cubicles and not being able to communicate, not remembering who I was slowly and everyone was, it was just like, really sad. But I think because there's so many brothers and sisters, and Hong Kong's such a small space, and when you have someone who really does need 24/7 care, not anyone in the family can take her on, I guess. Of course. Yeah, so that's kind of sad. But sorry, and then my grandma on my mum's side, she died probably like 5 years ago, and she ended up having Parkinson's and a bit of dementia and stuff, but she was able to have like a helper. Like I think my mum's family like paid for like a helper to be with her as a full-time carer. So she had the carer home, which is kind of nice. So she didn't have to experience the nursing home. I don't know.
Cubicle life.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of think that was a bit sad. Yeah. Are your grandparents still around? Except for the one granddad.
So I luckily grew up with all of 4 grandparents. Everyone's now passed away except for one grandma, the one that used to always scold me for not doing my homework and cleaning my room. And she also has a bit of dementia recently.
Oh, really?
So as soon as she moved into her nursing home, so she lived by herself till 92.
Yeah.
And she used to like go shopping and do groceries and everything and catch the bus. Yeah. At 90 until 91.
That's amazing. I know.
They found my grandma like she fainted.
Oh no.
In the shopping center. Yeah, like 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago.
And then since then, we were like, hey, we need to move her to a nursing home. So only the one grandma who's still alive. She's 90. I think she's turning 95 or 96 next.
Anyone that passes
Yeah.
90, I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. And grandma used to remember everything, but as soon as she moved into the nursing home, she forgot who I am.
Oh. That's so interesting.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, I thought she was joking.
Because I thought
I could remember me.
I thought she was more stimulated with the activities in the nursing home.
She
Last
is.
time you said she was more happy because she was like more social, whereas before she was all alone.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that, well, she is 95, but I'm just saying like it's interesting that didn't like kind of keep her brain.
Yeah. It's almost like
going.
she let go. That's what we think.
Maybe.
Like, as soon as she moved into the nursing home.
Because she's not independent anymore.
She doesn't have to be independent.
But when you're independent, you're like, you have to
You're
be
more
able to
switched
take
on.
care of yourself.
Yeah, and you have to think harder. You have to think about your meals, and you've got your routine.
No one's taking care of you.
Yeah, and you're like by yourself.
Yeah, you're by
and then you
yourself.
enter this like nursing home. By the way, my grandma is in a Korean nursing home in Sydney.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's not a cubicle, and she has a buddy.
Australia's a lot better.
It's a bit different. Yeah. I mean, I think every nursing home is different, but this nursing home is like known to be quite good for Koreans, and there's only
Is
like
it
one.
private? Or no?
I don't think so, but it was really funny. My friend, her grandma is there as well.
Oh,
And they used to live like right on top of each other, like when they used to live in an apartment
in Korea or
in
here?
in
Oh,
Australia, in
Okay.
Sydney, and then but they don't remember each other in there because they're old.
Oh,
Yeah,
but they
and
used to know
they used
each
to
other.
know each other, and my grandma remembered my friend, and we all knew each other, but the grandmas don't remember each other. And my friend's grandma recently, literally like 2 weeks ago, my friend sent me a text message, and her grandma turned 100.
Wow.
So they had a big party at the nursing home.
100. Honestly, I'm just like always like wow, because like I don't have grandparents that live to 90.
Oh my god,
let
100
alone 100.
is-
I'm
100
like, damn.
is like
That's amazing.
Yeah, and she's apparently still quite sharp. Like she doesn't
God.
remember everyone still, but
That's okay.
she's still very sharp.
Yeah.
And my friend sent me a photo and it's like 100 birthday
Yeah,
party,
yeah.
but my grandma
That's a
was in
huge
the
one.
background. And
Yeah.
of course my friend recognizes my
Yeah.
grandma.
Yeah.
I
Did she
just
look
thought-
happy? I don't know.
Yeah, my
She was
grandma's
there.
not really like social, like
Like that. Yeah.
she just looks normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my grandma's in the Korean nursing home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So so you told us about your grandparents.
Yeah.
Like what was your parents' roles with your grandparents? Were they quite, like, oh, I got to take care of my parents, like did they feel responsible, or was it kind of like, they do their thing and your parents do their own thing because they're busy raising kids as well?
Honestly, I think my parents weren't as responsible. Just one on my dad's side, like my dad's the youngest.
Oh,
So it's like
that matters, right?
that matters. Like if you're the youngest, like you're not calling the shots, right? Of what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Second is for both my grandmas who were around before. My parents are here in Sydney. So they moved here, 1990? So it's like my grandmas were in Hong Kong. So it's up to the siblings in Hong Kong to kind of do the logistics, do the admin, find the place, find the helper, find the appropriate convenient nursing home or something like. So it wasn't really up to my parents. It was more like of a collective sibling decision,
Yeah.
and probably led by someone.
Probably like one of the
who's a
older
leader
ones. Yeah, there's
in-
always a
in-
leader.
There's always a leader or two.
So is
in
the leader
family.
typically the eldest?
So on my dad's side, the eldest is also in Australia. So it's up to like the second to fifth, like other siblings in Hong Kong kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then on my mum's side, there was an eldest, but I think it was mostly one of my aunties that organised it who lived closer. And she also doesn't have kids, and also my uncle who doesn't have kids who was living with my grandma. Like they had more time to help out,
Yeah.
I think.
So not necessarily the oldest.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we talked a bit about the background of like our grandparents and stuff and where they're at and how they got there and stuff. But what did you think you learned, and what did you think is a very like Korean cultural thing that I don't know, just like what did you learn, or what do you think influenced you, how you would take care of your parents per se?
Yeah. I think a clear answer comes to mind when you ask me that, which is when my grandparents, like each one passed away, to see the responsibility and the actions that each parent took to help with like the funerals and that kind of thing. And what I really resonated with what you said is like, you know, you said the siblings came together and they discussed as a team like, oh, what do you want to do? I just thought that was so interesting, like seeing even my grandma when she moved into the nursing home. My auntie came from Canada and my auntie here, and I think my dad, like I think they kind of made the decision like auntie and dad, but Canada auntie, she came and like actually helped declutter like my grandma's home.
That's physically very helpful. Physically
very helpful, and just chucked out a bunch of things. And I remember she said, oh, do you want this like piece of furniture? Grandma would want you to have it if you want it, because she thinks it's such a waste, because she had it for like 50 years or something, but I really didn't want it. There's like no space for it. Like I really wanted to take it, but I was like, there's no space for me to take this you know that material like rattan? It was a rattan, you know, glass table and chair set. I was like, I would love to, but I can't. But I think that was when I was like, damn, like when my parents pass away, like it's gonna be me and my bro, but like I don't know, like it's just the two of us, you know? Is that enough? Like and then sometimes I look at all the freaking crap that my parents like accumulate, because my grandma actually lived very minimally.
Oh, that's good.
She didn't have much. She only had like a really small amount of clothes, and she never tried to have too many things. But I'm like, my dad is the biggest hoarder. And I know this is like so like kind of bad of me to think that far, but it's just like a lot of work, and it's burden. It's a burden. So I think that was
hoarders too.
I think a lot of Asian parents are hoarders. But I think that's when I sort of felt like that sense of responsibility come through, and like think, oh, you know, if this is how my parents are gonna, you know, if this is what they went through when their parents pass away, or when they're going through, my grandma move, you know, having a bit of a life change, it's like, who's going to be there when I'm having to go through that? Because it's already so emotionally hard.
I think it's so different. It's going to be so different for us because our parents had more siblings, both sides, right? But I think when it comes to us, what's different is, for me, it's also me and my brother. So it's I don't know if it's easier or harder or anything, because one good thing is that we're all in Australia. Like for me anyway, there's no one, like I don't need to fly to Hong Kong or anything. But it's
like
scary.
6, 7 siblings, that's a lot. My dad, I think, is like 4 siblings, and mum is like 5 siblings. So they had you know, they grew up in big families, and it is very different for us.
It's different. It's probably pros and cons. Because
but that's when I really started to think more about my aging parents. How about you? When what did you learn from your parents?
What did I learn from looking at them? I guess it's very common to live or have your parents live with you if they're aging. Like I think that's a very common Chinese thing. Like,
so did your parents live with their parents?
No, just because they moved to Australia. But I saw my grandparents live with my uncle. I knew my grandma lived with my auntie for a while. And then my other grandma was living with my uncle until she passed. So I think that's like pretty normal, especially I think I don't know, in my mind I think it's like, how do you keep your parents close by for as long as possible? I think that's like what you want, right? I don't know, but it depends. I don't know, that's kind of what I feel like.
I also grew up with the grandpa that recently passed away this year. He was also living with my uncle. They lived together. And yeah, and lately I find myself having conversations with my parents, telling them, hey, you guys should, move to this area when you get older because you can walk to the shops. Like I start thinking
that's important.
things like that. Like I don't want you guys to drive when you're too old. So how about you think about, retiring in this area so you stay connected to the Korean community. I've found myself saying a lot of things
Thinking
like
about
that this year.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And little bit of a change of topic, but I was watching this TV show called La Palma. Have you seen it? The tsunami drama, the Norwegian one. Okay. Anyway, there's this like scene. This is so random, but like there's this scene where this girl, she talks about how she ran away, and her parents don't know where she is. And usually I'll think like from the kid's perspective, like, oh yeah, I know that feeling when you're a kid and like, you just don't want to see your parents, so you just want to escape. So you just like kind of like run away.
Yeah.
But then lately I find myself thinking more about from a parent's perspective.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, if that was my daughter and she ran away, like, oh, that would be so devastating.
Yeah.
Like I
You
start
don't want your kid to
thinking,
run away.
yeah, I start thinking more from a parent's perspective now than from the kid's perspective.
Yeah.
And I just caught myself thinking
You're
like
getting
that
older.
yesterday. Yeah. So I just think like we're definitely, I don't know, even from the beginning of recording this podcast, I feel like, at least for me, like my mindset I'm more mature now,
Yeah.
like I'm thinking more about
Yeah.
like parents and like children in a different perspective.
Yeah. You definitely like kind of worry. Like even now, okay, if we're talking about now and our parents now, it's like every time I see my parents, I'm always like very critical. I'm like, oh, like Dad, what's wrong with your knee? Or like, why is your posture like that? Is something wrong? Like it's always about their health, I think. And then I guess on top of that, like my mum's also disabled now. She wasn't always disabled, but she's needs a wheelchair now. So even now I always think, even if I'm not eating dinner with them and say I'm eating dinner with you at a restaurant or something, and I'll think like, oh, is this a good restaurant for my mum to visit? Like, are the toilets accessible? No. Like, nah, we can't take her here. Or like I'll think about things like that. And yeah, I always have the guilt even now of like, I know I want to spend more time. I know I should spend more time with them. I always have that guilt. And I think for some reason in my head, like if they ever one day needed to go to the nursing home, I feel like that's a huge guilt as well. Like it's like, oh, I can't take care of you. Like that would feel really like, I would feel a lot of guilt if I had to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Is it to the point that you would even invite them to live with you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I would rather if I can, right? But it also depends on my situation. Like, am I working full time? Like, do I have kids? Is the care that they get going to be enough to take care of them at home? I don't know if it's financially possible to the point where, okay, you're going to quit your job to care for your parent. Like, I think that's a huge, I don't know if that's possible.
Financially.
Yeah, financially.
But is that something you want? Like, would you be happy doing that either?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like,
yeah, that's complicated.
I think that's a lot to ask too.
Yeah.
Is that weird to say?
Either way, it's guilty.
Either way, it's guilty. Yeah, it's guilty. Because you need to work, right? Like, I don't know. It's going to be hard. But that, like, when I think about that stuff, I'm like, shit, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
You know? But at least we have a sibling. Sometimes that's amazing. Like, having a sibling, it's like, thank God I have someone else to kind of help if I have to.
Not everyone has a sibling.
Not everyone has a sibling. But yeah, what about you? How about your parents now? Do you think about these things?
I don't think that far, like about nursing home. I think I'm a bit naive, and I think my parents would
Your parents are pretty fit though.
Yeah, and my grandma lived by herself till she's 92, so I just naively think they're going to do the same.
Yeah, I
which
think
is
they've
like
got like 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, your parents are pretty fit though.
But I do feel that this year I really wanted my parents to prioritize their health. So one big thing that I did this year, it's the biggest thing I've ever done for my dad, is for his 69th birthday last year.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just funny because 69.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
No,
you better cut that out.
I cleared. No, just leave it in.
Yeah.
But the 69th birthday, I gifted him PT
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah.
And he was so against it. He's like, no, I don't want it. And apparently it was because like he wasn't that confident and he felt a bit shy to do it. But he ended up doing it and he ended up loving it and his body started changing. Like his posture got a lot better and his confidence got better. It's
actually like the best thing.
Yeah, and he continued it as well.
Yeah.
And it has been the best thing. And we always like talk about how like we just talk about, what did you work out yesterday? And he goes PT like twice a week and then he every other day, like weekday, he goes and exercises what he learnt by himself.
Wow.
So he's at the gym 5 days a week. And
I'm
by the
so
way,
impressed.
he's not a fit dude.
No, but that's like changing your life at 70, which is so hard because like I will nag my parents to do stuff, but like, well, it's hard for my mom because she's disabled, but I will nag like my dad to do stuff, but they don't. I think they just don't listen at that age because it's really like, why would they listen to you? Because you're like their little kid.
Yeah.
Why would they listen to you? Like it's a lot of that vibe happening these days.
Yeah, they're
like,
so stubborn.
You try to tell them what's good for them and you're like, eat a bit more healthy, eat a bit less meat, eat more veggies, and they're like, what the hell? Like
you're so
you shouldn't have
naggy.
White rice. Like they're like, well, whatever. Like
more protein. I was like, where's the protein in this meal?
And they're just like, shut up,
Yeah, it was really tricky to convince my dad to do it.
Yeah.
But
it's so impressive.
It was worth it, guys. If you ever want to gift your parents anything, I think PT classes, even though they're super expensive, but the way I calculated was, okay, $1,000 for PT. What is the real value?
Health
of
is
that?
like priceless.
Right, exactly.
Health is priceless.
If it can potentially bring like 5 more years into my dad's
crazy,
life, then you know what? Like $1,000 is nothing,
and it's good. It's a good activity because like. You could be spending $1,000 on like a TV or a trip or food.
Yeah, shopping for
easily.
Clothes.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually improve your health, right?
That's true.
So
that's why I really thought.
And your lifestyle.
Yeah.
I always think about like, what's the lifestyle of our parents now? Like, are they being social? Like, because I don't know, my parents aren't working and stuff, but like what keeps them going? So yeah.
Yeah, because my parents are still both working.
Yeah. Well,
that's 68 and 70.
Good. Yeah.
But I do think like if they stop working, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought that was another part of my
plan.
Like, let's get you at the gym at least.
Exercising,
so you're doing something for yourself that's not related to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So any like last things you wanted to chat about, like last feelings or anything that you wanted to share about your aging parents?
Yeah, so as my parents age, and so do we.
Yes. We're getting older too.
And I do think, as you said in the beginning of the episode, our age now is when our parents had us, roughly.
Yeah.
So looking at the relationship between my grandparents and my parents and then me. And as somebody who doesn't really think about, like, I'm in a position where I think, do I want children or not? And I feel like I have a lot of pressure, like, to actually think about it because I feel like I need to know. Because it's okay if I don't want children, but at least let's think about it. So I'm really thinking it through, like, is children for me or not? And when I look at my aging parents and I see how much I love my parents, I do think when I'm their age, what would it be like to have children at that age?
At your age now?
Yeah. Well, at their age.
At their age.
So when I'm 70,
you have a 30-year-old kid or something.
Yeah, or there's no kid.
Oh yeah.
And I look at those two different scenarios, and I think which one brings me more joy. So that's sort of what I've been thinking about as well. Like when I'm my parents' age, who's around me?
Yeah. That's tough. I think that's like very normal to think. It's kind of like, I don't want to, it's not the fear, but it's like well, it is a fear, but like the fear
Well,
of dying alone.
I don't think it's necessarily fear related.
Like not fear, but like I don't want to. You know, it's not just having a kid or not. It's like having a lifetime partner. Not everyone will have a kid. Not everyone will find a lifetime partner, and you know, someone that you actually want to be with. Because what if, you know, you wouldn't want to be with someone you hate into like death, I guess. But wouldn't it be like, I guess that concept is like of family is like, wouldn't it be nice if, you know, you left this world, you know, with a family that will miss you, like you'll be missed even though you're gonna leave.
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, it's not everyone will have that, but it's like it's like what's life, kind of thing.
What's life?
What's life?
What's the meaning of
what's
life?
Like, what else are you gonna? I don't know. Well, there's a lot of things you could do, but as long as you're happy. But I don't know. So that's definitely things I would think about.
Yeah, and I've never really thought about it, honestly.
Okay. Yeah,
I just thought I'm just always thinking about the present and like, you know, being in my 30s, just like focusing on career, focusing on friends, focusing on partner, dog, you know, and my parents. But if I think about me now, like into the future, I'm 70, okay? Right, pretend I'm 70.
But you still have your friends. You might still have, you know, you still have a dog.
Well, this is the thing. You look at your parents and you think who's around them.
Yeah.
And their main people are each other and me and my brother.
Because their friends have their families.
And you know what? Like, because I actually spend a lot of time with my parents this year because I'm working remotely and I see them a lot. And a lot of their conversation is like, hey, you know, so-and-so passed away.
Oh, no.
They're going through, you know how we're in like baby
people
season now?
Having babies,
They're in like funeral seasons where people are just
sad.
passing away suddenly from health related things. And, you know, some years they'll have like more than 5 friends pass away. And they had like some really close friends pass away recently and it was a shock. And especially when it's like they're all friends as couples in university. And then it's so sad for the one that remains as well, like the husband of the wife who passed away. And it's just, and I just look at that and I think, yes, I will have friends and I do value friends, but this is like a different type of relationship with children. And it's just there's something nice about having young people around as well. Because I keep thinking I'm forever young. But that's not the case. And it's definitely not like I don't want to be alone mentality. It's definitely not like I'm scared to die alone. Like it's not that. It's more like, wouldn't it be nice if someone's like there? Like they don't have to take care of me. They don't have to take care of me. It's none of that. It's just
knowing that there's someone, maybe.
They're not just there. It's like someone that you spent the next 35 years with. You know, that you took care of and you saw them grow and see their...
I feel like I'm seeing a change in you right now in this episode.
Yeah. Can you explain like what's the change? Because like if you're listening to our episode for the first time, you wouldn't...
I think the change is you're really, really having a think about kids and what the meaning of having children to you might look like and why, and digging into like life and like, you know,
I am.
What do I want to be? Like you said that in the last episode, in the first episode, like what do I want to be when I'm 90? Like am I going to be happy without kids, or will I want to have, you know, some kids that visit me? And also like you never know what's going to happen, right? Like I might have dementia. I won't even remember my kids. Why would that matter then? But it's not really about that last.
Yeah, it's not about
that last little
moment.
bit, right? It's like it's the whole other bit. Like
doing
you just said,
life
like,
together.
Yeah, like you raise this little person that's your own. So
and you having
but hearing you say that and like I think this is like the first time I've ever heard you personally like put it like that. Yeah. Which is like
I've been
very interesting.
Thinking about it a lot.
Yeah.
Because I keep thinking, I've only been thinking about like how much I don't want to lose sleep of having a newborn. Or how much
that's also temporary.
I don't want to like pick up kids from school. Like I just think about that and how much I don't want to lose my freedom. But then now I'm trying to think, hang on, but what do I gain? Like what's wonderful about it? And I've been trying to think of it more from that way and more long term.
Yeah. It's definitely sacrifices. And I guess looking at our parents and just reflecting about our parents, like I always think about their sacrifices and what they've done for me. And like, I don't think I will understand that selflessness until I fully become a parent, which is, I think, like for me, I think it's like it will be an important part of my own growth, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. I just sometimes think about like all the times I was like a crappy daughter, or like talking back to my parents, or like, I don't know, just seeing my mum. She recently, I think in the past year, stopped dyeing her hair and she's like full grey, and just how that would feel as she's aging, like how, and she's lost her mobility and her independence, and she used to like do everything on her own, like drive everywhere, working woman and stuff. And it's just like life's just so unpredictable, like you can't control much. But yeah, I think family is like important to have when you're like going through things, and it kind of makes those crappy times okay. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a supportive family, despite all the ups and downs that I'm sure people go through in their relationships with their parents. But yeah, I think it's, if you can get past that and still be in a good place, like I think that's already a win. Yeah. Like, you know, your parents are still together.
I mean, even just going for it maybe is enough.
Going for what?
Like, rather, it doesn't have to be the result. The result doesn't matter. It's like, just even trying, like.
Yeah. What do you mean? Sorry. Trying what?
Like to start, like to raise children.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a scary thing. Because it's harder for us now, like to make the decision to.
Because we have so much choice.
Yeah, we have so much choice.
Yeah. And it's not like as much of an expectation. Yeah. That's true too. But yeah, I think that's
longer than what we expected.
Deep convos about our aging parents.
Yeah, but it's a good, I think it's just makes sense to have this sort of talk.
And linking it back to your questioning of whether you want children or not. And I think, whatever you land on, I think it's like, it's important to think about these things. Yeah.
And I think I'd like to end it with like, you know, we're very lucky to be able to, it's a privileged thing to be able to even have aging parents. Like,
some people's parents died early.
Yeah. Or even having like a parental figure that totally, you know, you look up to, and just having that is just such a blessing, and it's a privilege.
Yeah. And having I guess somewhat healthy relationships with them still, because you know, I'm sure there's, you know, broken families or like toxic relationships, and because sometimes the closest relationships can be the hardest, the hardest to work through. So but if you can work through it, like,
and if this is your sign to maybe start a conversation with your mum that you just fought with, or your dad that you haven't been talking to for years, maybe do it, because they're aging, and you I don't know, things change so quickly. Yeah, totally. We can go into that in another episode. Yeah, that's a whole other episode of like, you know, times when it wasn't easy, but if we ever want to share that, we can one day. Okay, well, I think that wraps up today's episode. I hope, I don't know what you guys, you know, maybe you guys had a bit of reflection time as well about your parents, or you could resonate with us, or maybe not, you learned something completely new. Share with us in the comments if there's any like situations of your grandparents or your parents that, you know, unique to you that you want to share. Like, we'd love to hear more stories from you guys as well. So yes, please leave a comment or DM us. We always love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.